Good evening, everyone. One by one, Gupshup started in April 2020, and we are very happy that we had the pleasure of speakers from Aurangabad, Bangalore, Bhubaneswar, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Pune, Jaipur, Mumbai, Sangli. It was a pleasure listening to all of them. It is an honor to have you all on the 17th session of One by One, Gupshup, which is also the penultimate session of this series. We shall culminate this in a final lecture titled called Beyond Boundaries on 15th of August from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We will have with us Ms. Yuko Nagamura from Japan and Ms. Rajlakshmi Iyer from Singapore and Pune. All details of the same will be uploaded soon. We would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Gupshup team. Some faces which you know, some are back of beyond, which are the to make this as good as possible. Firstly, I would take the opportunity to introduce you the Rajasthan chapter. With the chairperson, Mr. Akshuta, I would just hop in and
Hello.
Hi. Secretary Ms. Kavita Kedawar, who also happens to be the speaker today.
Hello.
Treasurer Ms. Aparna Bhargava.
Hello.
The managing committee, Mr. Vineet Chajar.
Hello.
Hi, Vineet. Mr. Kapil Sachdeva.
Hello all.
Mr. Ankur Jajpuria. Ankur. Mr. Ankur. I think there must be some technical glitch. Now Gujarat chapter chairperson Mr. Sandeep Patel, who unfortunately is not with us because he's feeling slightly low right now. The secretary Ms. Kaushin Modiwala.
Hello everyone.
Treasurer Mr. Tapan Modi.
Hi everyone.
Dr. Professor Deepa Maheshwari, who is a committee member.
Hello.
Mr. Priyesh Shah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Priyesh. Gupshup with all the speakers was not just one lecture. It didn't happen like a pop. Okay, it didn't happen that we send invite, they accept and they present. We actually made a very strong bonding with all the members. We would actually do mock drills. The mock drills would not be to say that they should feel comfortable, but more importantly, we should feel comfortable with the methodology of delivering this lecture so that we could enhance this experience by reducing the glitches to as minimal as possible. We don't promise, but we have tried. And if there are any mistakes from our side, please pardon us. Today, I get the pleasure of introducing Mr. Mahendra Singh Rathod from Sun Irrigation. Sun Irrigation is a renowned and well-reputed irrigation consultancy and executing firm established in this field for almost more than 2.5 decades. The best part about it, what I have been observing, and that's a personal opinion, he has been tweaking his videos to gear this presentation towards landscape fraternity, which is noteworthy, and not just displaying his works or what he does. Today's presentation is very interesting. He says it's addressing about do's and don'ts, which can be followed while designing and installing the irrigation system in a landscape project. Can we have the video, please, Tapan?
Hello everyone and warm greetings from Sun Irrigation. Today we will talk about a few do's and don'ts of irrigation system. Following a few do's and don'ts will keep the system operative at peak performance and increase the life of the system. Some things to follow in maintenance are cleaning filter every day. It takes hardly 2 to 4 minutes. In installation, we should take care that there should be a flush valve instead of an end cap at every dead end of the pipeline, so that the line can be flushed whenever it requires. Use a moisture sensor to determine watering needs. Install a rain shutoff device on your sprinkler system. Always use proper irrigation techniques such as drip, bubblers or micro sprays, jets and sprinklers as per requirement. In the operational part, we should take care that the time of irrigation should be between 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. to avoid evaporation. Adjust your watering schedule according to seasons. Run the sprinkler or drip for a set amount of time for every section to get uniform irrigation. Check regular operating pressure of system. Certain things to keep in mind are not watering the plant too much and only irrigating the root zone. Irrigation below the root zone is wastage of water. Designing should be done in a way that sprinkler nozzle targets only softscape area, not the hardscape area like driveways, sidewalks and building walls. Don't operate the system if the required pressure is not there. It will not irrigate uniformly.
I would request Sri Mahendra Singh Rathod to greet everyone on this evening. Mahendra Singh, you're on mute. I can't seem to, I think.
Hello.
Hi, Mahendra Singh ji, how are you?
Yeah, fine. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, good evening. I think Kapil is also joined back. He had some technical glitch. Kapil, I would just like you to drop in to say a quick hi.
Hello all.
Needless to say, now that you guys have been doing it for over 17 weeks and you're religiously turning off your audios and videos for better clarity, so I don't need to kind of recap the whole thing. The question and answers obviously will happen after this thing. And finally, I'm sure Kavita is also waiting because the longest introduction we have had. First, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce Kavita Kedawat. She is a principal landscape architect from Expanse Studio based in Jaipur. She completed a bachelor's in architecture from Malviya National Institute of Technology, Jaipur, and a master's from CEPT. After 4 years working with the firm Integral Designs in Delhi, she started her own practice, working on residential, institutional, townships, various kinds of platforms. She believes in an integrated approach to design where boundaries of the built and unbuilt merge seamlessly. She enjoys experimenting with local stone, craft, and uses site-specific solutions in landscape. I would like to have the pleasure of introducing Kavita. Please, Kavita, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Bobby sir, for the introduction. I would like to thank ISOLA Gujarat chapter and Rajasthan chapter for giving me this opportunity to share our work on this platform. And now I'll start sharing my presentation. Is it visible?
Yes, please.
Yeah. We are presenting here a couple of our works today under the title called Integration of Disintegrates. Basically, what we mean by disintegrates is disintegrates are the elements, factors, site situations, ideas which help in building a logical design decision or a narrative for a project. So whenever there is a new project or the beginning of the project, identifying disintegrates is the primary task, responding to them to create a holistic design solution. And in this process of integrating these disintegrates, this leads to a peculiar solution which is unique to any site or a project. So this is the first project we are demonstrating how our approach of using the site elements and various design parameters, or we call them disintegrates, leaded us to the final design solution. This is a project of a water park for a resort property in Jaipur. The site is located on outskirts of Jaipur city on Jaipur Sikar highway, and site is around 10.5 acres of land area, which was part of old development. Currently, site has two functions. The first one is a hotel property, which was existing there with the front lawn area. So there were hotel events and other celebrations and marriages they were hosting there. The back side of the hotel property was working or functioning as a water park. So the site was dotted with many pools. So one is here, another one is here, and these pools were for one was for male, for female, for kids, and there was this rain dance area. And the major infrastructure what site had is this large lazy river, which was not functioning because of the volume of water it was requiring and the kind of maintenance it required. Site had the main access from the highway, which leads to a secondary road towards the township. And then there were three approaches from the secondary roads which were connecting to the site. This is the first photograph, shows how the central areas, which were the recreational areas for this water park facility, and the bottom photograph shows the other play infrastructure which was placed long back. So this is how this property was functioning as a recreational space with a very old infrastructure. And then with the recent boom in event venues and marriage gardens, and when the Jaipur became a hot spot for hosting this kind of events, the client wanted to create a banquet facility for this area. So there was an initial proposal which was made by architect Nikhil Agarwal. And the proposal was made in the front side of the property, and we were hired on this project to design the landscape for this banquet and the outside areas of this property. Now, because this banquet need to start, there were these pools and other facilities which were functioning, and they didn't want to demolish and start this banquet activity. So first, this created a new requirement that we should create an alternate facility for all these water bodies which were there functioning as pools. So here we were with the new design brief that we should create a water park first, then we start the banquet facility. So we had three functions for this property now. There was design of water park, then we had a hotel which was already functioning, and then we had a banquet with a large lawn space which was to cater around 3,000 to 4,000 of people capacity. Once we had all these commercial activities in place, we had to design the overall master plan for this entire campus, because these three facilities need to function in coordination to each other, and they should not hamper each other's activities. The water park was, the site for water park was placed in between the hotel and the banquet which was proposed. This is the site which was in between both the land areas. The site had a main pool area which had two existing rides, and there was a central island which was dotted with many trees. So all these trees which you see, they were developed in the duration of 25 years, and then it was surrounded with this lazy river facility which was not functioning. So once we had this initial brief of water park, so we said let's design a new water park which can cater to new demands and create a new infrastructure. So we jotted down the initial brief, and there were some brainstorming ideas which happened. We created some initial sketches. This is one of the initial sketch to know the feasibility how the water park can function here. So the very first idea we had is we should remove the lazy river because they were not able to maintain it. Then we should cluster the entire design, so all the different pools for different genders and other water play activities can happen in one large water space. And then we should increase the size of capacity of this because the site was catering to many schools where the entire school can come for water play activities or for entire days for recreations. And then there was this new requirement which was introduced, that we should create a wave pool because there are not many wave pools in the city as of now, and a waterside restaurant. Once we jotted down all these briefs and started calculating the programs, the area required for them, and so soon we realized that this is a large and huge infrastructure, and which is which will create an overload on this particular land because of its size. So we wanted to shrink the requirement, and at the same time we wanted to create whatever best possible facilities we can create for the loss infrastructure. So here we were with the fixed timeline and fixed budget. This project we started talking about was in the end of 2018, and we wanted to make it run by the summer 2019. So it was around 6 months duration in which the entire design to happen and the execution to happen. So this fixed timeline parameter became the key factor of guiding the design. Then he said, let's do the minimum intervention to get the loss infrastructure. Let's not add any new water plays which are not existing, and let's design for the optimum capacity of the land. And we went back to the existing site what we had, and started looking back. And then so this was the existing scenario. And we can say them disintegrates or guiding factor, which actually leaded us to final design. So these were the existing trees. We had this huge infrastructure in the form of lazy river. So we said, let's not get rid of it and let's reduce the size of it. So the water requirement is reduced, and we reduced the size of lazy river where smoothest turning was possible. Then we placed a main pool on this island which was formed. So the pool was placed in between the lazy river and this row of trees. And then there was one more water pool which is of shallow depth, which was placed between this row of trees and this cluster of Elistonias. So this is how the overall water plays were placed there. And then all these water activities should be barricaded from the different spaces. So there were greens around the lazy river which was created. There was these 2 islands of green which were created so that we protect the pool edges and to make it more safe and sound from kids' perspective. And there were 2 watchtowers which were planned here. So the entire water play can be seen from here, and somebody can keep an eye on if there is any accident or any mishappening happens. And then we started looking back how to connect this island with the entire property. So these are the connections which happened. The first one, this one was the existing bridge. We retained that because it was connecting us to the existing pool area. Then the second bridge, which was a new bridge proposed, and this became the main entry to this island. And the third bridge was actually a shifting of bridge between the rain dance and lazy river which existed here. So we said, let's shift this bridge on this edge which connects the island with the services and restrooms and other related facilities. And then in between these tree grids and other spaces, there are these 2 chunks of spaces which were forming. So the one became the main kids activity zone, the other one became the main adventure play space. And all these trees which are there, they are tall trees. So there were some rope activities which were planned along this pathway, and this is how the entire recreation was planned in this area. And once we had the basics of water park in place, we went back to the master plan level, worked out the physical linkages, which became the key factor for the entire property. So we had here 3 functions, and which were supposed to run independently, and they should use or check the possible conjunction of utilities which they can share. And entire working of this master plan happened in consideration with the existing trees. So the first was this hotel was organizing many marriage parties and events, and they were using this outside township road as procession path. So we said, let's introduce a new path which is part of the site, and let's get rid of the chaos which it creates with the township people. So there was this new path which was created, which was a natural trail and a golf cart way, and it connects the hotel with the banquet area. So all the processions can take place in this particular zone. Then there was this entire circulation which was planned for the water park. So this was the main entry for the water park. There was ticket counter which was planned. Earlier ticket counter was at the outside area, and there were queues happening on the township roads. So we said, let's bring that cluster here inside. Let's create the waiting plazas here. And from here, there is a security check which happens. And then from here, this becomes a pedestrian walk. The other facilities, lockers and changing rooms were marked here. And then you arrive here. And this is from this point, the connection happens from the pool island to the main recreational activity. And then because this was a kind of infrastructure which we were creating, could be used for hotel events also. So there was one more link which was designed for hotel guests. So whenever there is a poolside party which can happen after water park hours, which was like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So late night poolside parties can happen, and there is a connection which was designed for the hotel. And there was this line of trees which were planned. So there's a visual connection which remains there, and this creates a psychological demarcation between the banquet lawn and the other recreational lawns which we have planned here. So there was this sharing of facility between all 3 activities was happening, but at the same time they should be able to function independently with each other. So these were all disintegrates, I would say, which guided us to the complete master plan. And then we had this banquet, which was an independent activity, and the major traffic to this banquet was feeded from this main highway. So there was this entry which was created, which was independently for the banquet parking and other service areas. The entry was recessed, so there is not much of chaos on the road. And then you go there, this is a waiting area for public transport or any taxis which are coming here. And this was designed again in consideration with existing trees. We tried to manage somehow to save whatever existing trees which are coming here and in these areas. And we're still working out how to save the trees which are coming under the banquet built up facility. And then there was some study of grading and was done. The difference between from highway to hotel, there is a 3 meters of grade difference. The banquet facility is planned in this area, so this is more or less on our same grade. And then we have planned this water park in relation to existing infrastructure. So this remains on the same grade. And whatever the variation between the hotel and the water park, we need to integrate these levels within this area. So there were many terrace gardens which are formed in this area, and few areas were smoothly merged in the grade with the mounds. Then again, the water management was crucial for this site because this was highly intensive water demanding facility. The entire grading was done in such a way that we could figure out where the rainwater harvesting would be done, and we can use the entire water. So not a single drop of water from this campus goes outside. At the same time, these external roads were sloping in this direction, the highway is sloping in this direction. There is a depression which is formed in this area, and whenever there is rain, there is flooding happens here, and which is not a very good scene in case of any events or any functions when this facility is running. So entire grading was worked out considering all these existing and the site levels. And once the master plan linkages, the broad strategies in place, we went back to the detailed design of the water island. So this was the main pool area. This was the shallow pool. We placed a jacuzzi here. We placed the rainwater rain dance area here. There were few water interplay play activities were planned here, and this was a long edge which was used for mode of water interaction. And then this entire deck was dotted with these trees which were existing, these Elistonias. Once this infrastructure was in place, there were linkages which were planned. So we enter from this main bridge, and it has laminar jets which frame the entire entry. You arrive here, this forms entry plaza, and this is the link from hotel side. So you walk inside the lazy river and come up in the deck area. There were a couple of water bodies we planned along the lazy river, so there is a sense of water connection can happen when you're part of lazy river drive. And these are the some simple water fountains which are fed by the lazy river, and there is an overflow happens here. This is existing pool, kids pool area. Then couple of other interesting water plays were planned. So the wall between the pool and lazy river, this was designed as a fall. So there is a fall which happens in the lazy river, and on the other side there are sheet falls which are on the in this pool area. Then all the bridges which were planned, they had these falls underneath. So whenever you cross the bridge, you come in connection with water. And then the third thing which we planned was these sprinklers. So whenever you cross this area, there is a sense of rain which you can get in this zone. So the entire lazy river journey was marked with little water plays and interaction areas. This is how the entire working happened. This is the lazy river, the main feature wall, which becomes the fall here. Deep pool area, shallow pool area with the inside water loungers. This is the deck. There is a buffer between the lazy river and the deck, so these planters are there. This is a longitudinal section where again the lazy river deck, jacuzzi, the shallow pool, the rain dance deck, again the planter and the lazy river. So this is how the entire working was done, and 3Ds were made for more clarity of spaces. So these were the existing trees which were there, and these were the planned green which were proposed. This is that laminar entrance way, and when you arrive from the main entry side, you hardly see what is happening at this island. Once you arrive here, then only the spaces become to clear. Then these are the other bridges where the entry happens, and this is the connection from hotel side. This is when the construction started. the civil works shaping up, the careful selection of materials. So we try to use as much as local stone available. So this is the stone from Rajasthan. All these are stones from Rajasthan only. And because this was, there was a difference in from one point to another point in the depth of water. So there was this wave form which was created in the tiles. And then the very natural exposed stone vesselry work started to happen, which started to land the vocabulary and kind of design spaces we were looking for. This is when the entire finishing work was complete, and this is how it appears. The deck areas with all those Elistonias and beautiful champa trees in the background. This is the view when we arrive from the main entry side. This is captured from the jacuzzi area. So how the green wraps around the pool, the main deck area from the front side. And this is the handing over, before which we did the entire testing of all water features. I'll just share a short clip of. Pardon me for the bad quality of videos. It was taken by site people with their mobiles. And this is the final product or design space we have. So this was November 2018, and this is where the entire site got executed. Obviously, the planting has taken shape now, but the whole infrastructure was in place. The second project which I'm sharing is the garden for celebrations. The garden has two parts. One is a garden for the house, which is a backside garden, which is around 3,000 of square feet area. And then another is adjacent property for the same client. And this is a plot area of around 10,000 square feet. So this garden, first garden, they wanted to be very calm and subtle, and the other one, they wanted it to be very black, bold and flamboyant. So that was, the second garden was for the celebration. So I'll just brief the first garden because that was also done by us, and how we connected it with the second one. This is the backside garden, which was done around 10 years back. It was more of a structured garden. They had these 3 pavilions, which is seen here, and there was a water body with a deck. So this was like more of a very structured garden with some planting here, and the garden was accessed from this driveway. They wanted to renovate it for 2 reasons. One, this was a raised garden. They wanted to bring it down to the driveway level. And the second, they wanted some kind of newness because it was done 10 years back. So this is the very basic, simple design we presented. The approach was taken from the driveway and proposed a very simple, clean seating area, which was flanked by water bodies on both sides. And this was the only civil structure which was proposed. Other than this, the entire garden was more of fluid and organic in nature with the multi-layer planting. So this is how this shaped up. This entire structure is designed with the metal and stone with stone roofing, and this is how when the planting has grown, this ficus wall actually becomes a screen from the adjacent property. This is how peacefully this pavilion sits there. It's a very simple, crisp, neatly designed structure with the minimal lines, and it sits in between this multi-layered, multicolored planting, the other areas of the garden. The second site, which is adjacent to this plot, has this common boundary. And the guiding factor disintegrates, I would say, for this garden was the brief that should be dynamic and youthful. Then this site was a kind of trapezoidal shape, and there was this acute angle which was forming here. Other than this, in a connection from the house, the site had one entry from the main side road. So there was this entry and the parking area. The main idea of this particular connection, we wanted it to be smooth in transition. So this was a house garden which was very calm and subtle, and this they wanted to be very bold and very energetic. This is the proposal made. You enter, this is parking, there is this physical barrier which happens, there is this wall, and then you arrive, there's this front lawn area which forms the foreground for the building, and there is this water body with a sunken seating which is wrapped by a raised planter, and once the planting shapes up, this acuteness is no more visible at sight. And these areas are screened off. We created some interesting green walls around it, and this was the transition zone. So from this side garden, this became a focal point and basically a termination point. From this side, this became more of a interaction area. So there were a couple of seatings planned, and this was planned as a fragrant and flowering garden. This project actually the kind of ambience which lends the environment which we were intending was created by the selection of materials. So we went for a very bold palette of materials: black, white, and yellow stones. Again, all from Rajasthan. And this is how the garden started shaping up once the finishing work started. We obviously get mock-ups done for everything before executing anything at site. So these were the mock-ups prepared for whatever water elements and stone elements designed. These are the lily-shaped bud fountains which are designed. These are solid stones, and the sunken seating area with a fireplace, and this is that physical barrier between the parking and the garden. It's again designed with the same yellow and black stone, lending the very festive vibes to the entire space. The space visible from the other seating area. And this is the connection which happens between the old garden and the new garden. So we didn't do much here. We just opened up this boundary and let the space flow inside the other new property. This is how the space seen and experienced from interiors. This is how you experience when you're part of landscape. You're sitting in the sunken seating area. And this is a view from the bedrooms from that outhouse property. So this picture clearly shows how interior, landscape, architecture, everything becomes one. There is a seamless merging which happens here. And finally, we are happy that we could create the kind of landscape this building deserved. So there was this complete integration of built with unbuilt, and the entire blending of architecture, interior, and landscape was executed here. The building is designed, this one and the previous their house building, designed by architect Rajendra Puri. And in the end, I would like to conclude by saying that all these disintegrates exist in all sites, which are fed by site surroundings and type of project, scale of project, and the kind of experience of spaces we are looking for. For us, for these two projects, the little hints at site led us to the final design solution. Thank you. Over
Thanks
to
a
you.
lot, Kavita.
Thank you.
Can we please have the question and answer series? I seem to have some net connections and I'm not able to connect back. Hello.
Yeah.
I think I have some net connection issue. But okay, there is a question from Shelly. She says, what does lazy river mean?
What does?
Lazy river mean?
It's a shallow pool, basically around 2 feet 6 inches, 750 mm water depth, where the water flows with a very less speed.
Okay. I mean, I was looking at your presentation and I must congratulate on the kind of work which you're doing. Just one quick question. You said architecture, interiors, and landscape is what is integrating, but I thought you actually looked at lighting also very, very seriously. And it formed an integral part of your presentation. I mean, that's what something which I liked about it also. So I presume lighting is also a part of the scope of work?
Yeah, it's always part of landscape design.
Okay. And the other question which I had specifically was, how do you actually look at when you're talking about, when you're looking at termination of a lazy river, how do you look at that? Meaning when you curtail it in terms of its working, I would suggest.
Terminate as in?
You had a longer lazy river and you actually culminated into a softer curve, which you said, which actually nestled between the two trees.
Yes.
So when you actually break an existing contour lazy river, how does the amalgamation of the new and the old happen?
The contours, the levels are same. So there was just a wall which was turned at that radius. So water
Okay.
can just move from that side.
Okay.
And I would also like to mention my team member, Ikshita Bhargav, architect Ikshita Bhargav, who was part of this design team for the water park.
There's another question saying when you, which I think was very clear in your presentation, but Shelly has a question which says that since you reduce the size of the lazy river, what happened to the other part of the river, which I presume very categorically the presentations showcase that it was used for other land use purposes.
Yeah, it was filled, and it was filled with whatever earth we got from the excavation from the pool and the new part of lazy river. So the entire earth was used in filling that the remaining part of lazy river, and it was created a new into a new space for recreation.
Rucha has a question saying these hospitality projects are very complicated projects. They work, like you said, in a very quick timeline stuff, and you cannot kind of stop them. So her question is that since there were many complex functions which happened within the with different parameters within the same site, how was everything managed based in terms of timelines, footfalls, utilities, because it's a running property?
Yes, it is a running property. When the construction was happening for this new island area, they were still running the old pool areas and the rides and everything. So the entire site, which was that particular area, was barricaded, and there were people who were looking after that area, and the remaining site was functioning as it is.
Okay. I think Prasanna has a question which I think you will deal with separately, saying what was the budget allocated for hard and soft landscape lighting, and I think that you should handle it personally whenever he sends you that message, and we can connect you both.
Yeah, sure.
What is the capacity of a lazy river? I mean, there's no name. It says NB, so I don't know. So excellent work, of course. I mean, I'm not reading what are the accolades you're getting, because everyone is saying very good, excellent, and that you will look at it. But what is the capacity of lazy river, and how are the maintenance factors taken care of, and the MEP taken care of in terms of, I'm sure it's not about lazy river, but generally about all of it.
Capacity of lazy river is lazy river. Inside the lazy river, there are these tubes in which people sit, and then these tubes move around. So at a time, there can be 8 to 10 tubes inside that lazy river area.
I mean, in terms of capacity, is there a figure? Is what I think he or she is asking.
The number of people, as in,
Yeah.
one tube can take 8 people.
Okay.
And,
Which means at any given point of time, about 60 to 70 people.
yes.
Okay. And what are the maintenance factors like? I mean, what is the maintenance protocol? Is it different than any swimming pool, or is it the same? Is what the question could be.
It's the same for the pool areas. They were because it's a large 500 feet long lazy river which is there. So there were 5 pump rooms which were planned along the lazy river path, which were feeding this, and there was 1 filtration unit which was planned there. So this function as it is like the swimming pool functions.
Oh, so it's basically the same thing.
Yes.
Venkatesh has a question: is the water park used at night?
No, water park is not used at night, but some hotel activities and events they are planning to host in that area. So they can increase the rent for that area. They can exploit the opportunity what they have as an additional infrastructure for the hotel, and they can run it as late night poolside parties.
No, but you can't access the water, right?
Yeah, that time you can't access the water, but the parties can happen in the plaza and hardscape area.
Himanshu as a question says, what is the design process you follow when you first meet their client and their brief?
Visit the site, study it, understand the brief, and that is the starting point, and then site itself start guiding you how to proceed.
Yeah, meaning, so his question I think would be more towards the process oriented. Is there a particular process you follow once you meet the client and you have understood the brief?
Yeah, because sometimes there are new typologies we are introduced to. So we have to do our background studies for these kind of typologies. Like this one was new project for us. We never did such large water intensive projects. Mm-hmm. So how the functioning happens, how the lazy river works, and all those readings were done, and those were put in place in design.
Sushil has a very interesting question. Says, what inspired you to call it a lazy river?
It is called lazy river, as I said, because the water moves very slowly.
Yeah, because you're lazy inside. Yeah, sure. I'm sure that can be the case. Sherry has another question saying, so you're creating a lot of sounds in water. Does it get chaotic, or Like does it get noisy?
No, actually, it adds to the fun part, because when there are lots of people around, that becomes more of entertaining, I would say, than
Yeah, so meaning
so you are there to celebrate or
true, you're there to enjoy the water and make more noise. I mean, you have to compete with the noise. Yeah, sure. I think there's a lot of wow for you. Please have a look at it, read it very carefully. So I think there's one more question. How is the water balance maintained? Meaning you have natural wells or source of water, if he has missed in the presentation. So where is the true source of water?
true source of water. Again, it's underground wells and pumps we have. Once we fill the lazy river, then it can run for a year. You don't have to change the water, and then you have to refill it after 1 years of time, so you can reuse that water in irrigation and the other areas or services.
So do you look at rainwater harvesting within this campus, like you were explaining about the slopes?
Yeah, so there are carefully designed rainwater harvesting structures there, and they culminate into one large rainwater harvesting structure, which again reuses the entire water.
Okay. So there's one. I have a question. I think we have time for one more question. What kind of materials as a surface are used for water-filled spaces? So meaning, what is the bottom of the lazy river or the
Lazy river is made in RCC and it is plastered and painted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we have any other. There's one last question which I'll take. I think it's from Aparna, who says, please explain more about your thought processes behind selection of materials or any inspiration in terms of the way you do the forms to the stone or stuff like that.
It's out of interest, actually. I love experimenting with stones, and we try to use as much as local stone which are available in the area. And we are doing a large stone factory, and we got exposure to a lot of locally available stone, which looks very exotic. And we are trying and experimenting with those stones in other projects.
Perfect. It would be a pleasure to have you back again when you present it with your new projects, which look at stone very beautifully. With this, I would like to personally and thank you on behalf of everyone from Gupshup team. As mentioned earlier, the final series called Beyond Boundaries on the 15th of August at 11 a.m. All the details will be posted on the websites very soon. We will all hope to see you then. Till then, you please all stay safe. Cheers. Thank you from everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining.